Hey, this is Amir Vinci. I'm the Senior Product Manager at Waves Audio, and we're here at NAMM 2013. We're showing a lot of stuff, and let's start with DiGiGrid. But when I start with DiGiGrid, we'll go back and introduce SoundGrid for a second. SoundGrid is Waves' Ethernet-based audio network and processing, real-time, low-latency low-latency solution. It has been introduced some years ago, like a little bit more than 3 years ago, for live audio. We're here actually at our booth. We're right next to DiGiGrid. DiGiGrid make these fabulous live consoles, and they wanted to put plugins on their live consoles, and that's how we conceived SoundGrid, in order to be able to provide our plugins for people to use in live, like professional front of house engineers are using them nowadays in the biggest acts in the business. Bruce Springsteen is using it, Beyonce, you know, all of the big names are actually using plugins live, and the plugins are mostly Waves plugins being used on SoundGrid systems. So our marriage with DiGiGrid, who have integrated our multi-rack application into their consoles touchscreens, are actually offloading the plugins process on something we call the DSP server, and that DSP server hosts a Intel CPU chip. Rather than using different mathematical processors to what people are using in native systems, we are using the same CPU chips, but we have rolled a special custom Linux kernel that allows us to do a round trip with latency less than 1 millisecond. We're talking about 0.8 milliseconds. Yeah, we are in microsecond land rather than millisecond land, so yeah, that's where we're going with SoundGrid. And so this thing with DiGiGrid has been so successful, they actually wanted to see what else they can do with SoundGrid, and so they decided that they want to make this hardware solutions for the studio guys. So now that the live engineers were all sorted out with multi-rack and plugins running on live consoles, they wanted to make hardware for the studio, and so they did. So the DiGiGrid hardware that we are showing here is created by DiGiGrid under the name Soundtracks, and they're making a whole bunch of different things, solutions that are for live. They are making boxes that are MADI boxes to bring MADI streams from any other digital consoles that don't have what they did. They made an actual SoundGrid I/O that they built into their consoles, but nowadays digital consoles that have MADI outputs can use the MGB, which is the one that uses BNC connections, or the MGO, which is the optical version of the MADI SoundGrid bridge, and they can have plugins running on the SoundGrid network with their digital consoles. So I know a lot of people that have digital consoles that support MADI but don't support our proprietary SoundGrid I/O thing are waiting for this bridge so that they can run plugins for those consoles too. And that's a lot of digital consoles out there. So now getting back to DiGiGrid and back into the studios, they created 2 pieces of hardware that are Pro Tools bridges. So we have MADI, the bridges that bring a whole bunch of audio into SoundGrid through MADI. Now we have the DLI and DLS. They're nice pieces of hardware that bridge Pro Tools DigiLink with SoundGrid. So if, for example, you have an HD system or an HDX system, you can use that hardware to drive signals from Pro Tools into SoundGrid by connecting them through the DigiLink cable connection, and then you are on our network. You're on the SoundGrid network, and you can get all that bunch of processing. So I know a lot of people that are buying HDX systems at the moment, and right now we can't offer anything. We've just announced that we're doing AAX native. We'll talk about that later, but we can't offer the AAX DSP solutions at the moment. What we do offer is we can offer these bridges. People can buy those. The DLS includes a SoundGrid server on it that is based on an Intel processor, and they can have their offload plugins running on either multi-rack or the all-new Emotion Mixer, which is like a mixer solution that runs on SoundGrid. the last of the different solutions that DiGiGrid offers is the IOs. They have something called the iOS. iOS is a SoundGrid IO that's integrated again with a SoundGrid server and a switch, so that you can connect more SoundGrid devices into it. So SoundGrid devices are not only hardware devices. SoundGrid IOs can be virtual IOs. They can be used as a driver. If you have a laptop with a native DAW, you can drive signals from that DAW into SoundGrid through an Ethernet cable by using our driver, which will make the SoundGrid look as if it was a piece of hardware, ASIO devices or core audio devices on Macintosh, and you can drive signals into SoundGrid there. You can integrate signals into the same grid. For example, if you have a Pro Tools system in your studio, and all of a sudden some guy comes along with a laptop and has a Studio One session, for example, you can install the SoundGrid driver on his system, and then through an Ethernet cable he can drive all those signals into our SoundGrid and then record them into Pro Tools or mix them with our Emotion Mixer and all of that kind of stuff. For users that have native audio workstations, SoundGrid can help them get real-time monitoring with real-time audio processing, so that the singer doesn't have to hear himself dry. He can have all of the Waves product line of processing to process his signal in real-time monitoring, and it doesn't necessarily need to be recorded. He can record the direct signal and still hear it with the process without the latency. And that's another kind of solution that these systems are offering. I really think people that are interested should go up. There's a new website that is called DiGiGrid.net, and on DiGiGrid.net you can see everything. We didn't print a lot of brochures because it's not nice to do nowadays. We want to keep the trees, we want to keep the environment, so we're not handing out brochures, but we do tell people, please go to DiGiGrid.net to see all about the different solutions that DiGiGrid has to offer. It's really great stuff, and that's it about DiGiGrid for now.